Hi, my name's Jaime, and welcome to another edition of Faith Warrior. On the last episode of Faith Warrior, I talked about taking back ground and about using strategy to face an enemy that cannot be beat on sheer willpower, on how we need structure, consistency, and the need for backup. And that's because the enemy knows your weak spots. He'll hit you when you're tired or feeling unworthy. So your battle plan needs to cover these areas before getting exposed and before they draw you back again into the abyss. You see, every day people wake up feeling empty. Not because they're weak, but because something's been slowly draining their spirit. Maybe it's addiction, maybe it's shame, or maybe it's that quiet voice that says you'll never be enough. But let's call it what it is, an enemy. A thief that wants to keep you stuck in the same loop of guilt, pain, and fear. And the first step to freedom isn't pretending everything's fine. It's naming what's actually holding you down. Because the truth will set you free when you've been enslaved by a lie. Now, once you can name your enemy, you can start fighting it. And when you can start fighting it, it starts losing its power. So don't run from it anymore. Look it dead in the eye and say, you don't run my life anymore. This is where your comeback begins. Not with perfection, but with honesty. But let's slow down for a minute. Let's take a breath, because you don't have to fight right now. You just have to be here. I want you to imagine for a second that I'm sitting across from you. No judgment, no mask, no fake strength, just two people being real. I'm going to ask you something honest, and I want you to be just as honest back with yourself. What's the thing that's been eating away at you? That voice that keeps whispering you'll never get free, that you've already gone too far. Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's substances, or maybe it's that toxic relationship or a habit you can't break from. Or maybe it's something deeper, a weight that's sitting or been sitting on your spirit for so long you've forgotten what light even feels like. But whatever it is, stop running from it. I want you to name it. You see, in the spiritual battle of life, we need to develop some sophistication in recognizing, naming, and understanding the craftiness of common tactics of the devil. So whatever it is that's eating away at you, say it out loud. Write it in your notes, or you can even whisper it under your breath. But bring it into the light. Because what hides in the dark keeps power, and what's exposed starts to lose that power. And this isn't about guilt. This is about clarity. Remember, we need structure. Because you can't fight what you won't name, and you cannot heal from what you won't face. So right now, just take a second. Close your eyes if you need to, and picture that thing. The addiction, the lie, the pain, the influence, and call it out. You must identify the demon and how he entered your life. Was it by sin, by a traumatic incident, a curse, or an occult? Because that right there, that moment of honesty, is where freedom starts. It's not when everything is fixed. It's not when you feel strong, but right here, when you bring it out into the light. This is where you start taking back ground. And please do not go seeking a quick fix. Seeking a quick fix to obtain grace will only get you to fall into the trap of magic. And let me tell you, there isn't good magic, and there aren't any good witches either. And if you do, for whatever reason, do go down that route, you're only going to make yourself psychologically compatible with the demon. That means you're going to make yourself the perfect candidate for a demon to make its way back into your life. And Proverb 4:23 reminds us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And so any psychological compatibilities must be eradicated prior to your liberation. And those include like being disobedient, prideful, conceited, angered, and resentful, among others. Because the demon will do everything in its power to keep you in fear and under his control. In fact, he'll even puzzle you to prevent the flow of grace, and he'll do it using various tactics. He'll even try to prevent you from praying and tempt you to return to past sins and destructive behavior. And he'll do it testing his limits to see how far he can get with you. So start separating from all that negativity and make that choice to accept salvation and trusting in God. Now, did you know that most people who struggle with spiritual affliction do not need an exorcist and can self-deliver through a return to the practice of Christ? Not saying that you need an exorcist. I'm not even saying you're possessed. I'm just saying those who struggle with spiritual affliction do not need an exorcist if they did need one. And if for whatever reason you feel you don't trust a priest because at one point or at one time he dismissed you, was ugly to you, condescending towards you, or ran you off, shame on him. And I'm sorry, but he's going to be even sorrier. And that doesn't change the fact that a bad doctor still gives good medicine. And many times the problem isn't the problem. The problem is your attitude towards the problem. And attitude sets the table. And what I mean is that the devil, with his tactics, will use this type of behavior. And I'm not justifying the actions of the priest. But the devil will do whatever it takes to try to discourage you to not to trust any priest or to get you away from a church altogether. And this is why we must remain persistent and focused on the ultimate prize, and that is getting to heaven. And that should always be our attitude, no matter what. So don't let anyone or anything ever get between you and our Savior, Jesus Christ. And here's a paraphrase from Mark 10:13-16, where people were bringing their children to Jesus so he could bless them. But his disciples tried to push them away. Jesus didn't tolerate that and told them plainly that God's kingdom is made for those who come with the trust and openness of a child. He added that anyone who can't receive God's reign with that same childlike posture will miss it entirely. Then he welcomed the children himself, held them close, placed his hands on them, and blessed them. So regardless of who or what it may be, don't let anything or anyone ever stop you from seeking or breaking away from God. And so replacing these triggers with foods for your souls aren't just small steps. These steps are laying the foundation for freedom. And every time you choose a positive influence over a negative one, you reclaim a piece of yourself and you reclaim ground that was once lost. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And that message, victory through Christ, is based on Jesus' victory over Satan on the cross. This victory provides believers with the authority over the devil, as the head of the serpent has been crushed. Now that's a great start for your battlefield, isn't it? You know where your enemy can attack, and you set up your defenses. All you have to do is submit yourselves, then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. And from here, we fight forward, one truth at a time. And by the way, consistency is also your ally. You must stay consistent. Start waking up at the same time every day. Move your body, exercise, don't be a couch potato. And pray and reflect before scrolling through your phone, because each small choice strengthens your spirit and your relationship with God. Prayer is a crucial weapon and a way to access God's power. And that's another thing too. And if you ever prayed and nothing happened, have you ever thought it's because once he does answer, he never hears from you again until you need something else? Have you ever thought for a second that the only time he gets to visit with you is when you go ask for help? And so I say again, consistency matters. And this isn't about perfection either. Remember that. You will stumble. You are going to fall. But every time you do, get back up, because your spirit's going to get stronger. So today, step forward, secure your ground, and make it yours. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Faith Warrior signing out.